Hey guys, what's up? So today I thought I would do my February TBR, and I know I'm obviously pretty terrible with deadlines from the look of things on my channel so far, but I'm hoping by March I will have everything in order and be back to a normal schedule. And I only have like 3 books today, but I thought that I would kind of share them with you in a little bit more detail than I normally do, because I really took the time this month to get to know my books before I picked them out. Because normally I kind of go off charts and other people to get book recommendations, and I like to be surprised when I open it up what's going to happen. But I think this month I have a very clear understanding of all of the book's plots, and I am super excited to share them with you. And I am sorry about the mess of my bed behind me. It is cleaning day for all my sheets. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so my first book is The Shallow Graves by Jennifer Donnelly. Sorry, without my cover on it, I have a hard time memorizing authors' names, but I don't know if it's just me, but I don't personally like to read with the big plastic covers on them. So I always take them off when I first get the books, and then I can put them back on at the end, but since I haven't read this yet, it has not gone back onto the thing. So I'm sorry about that. That's kind of the case for all of the books this month, but it's all good. This book is supposed to be really scary. It's about how people are rising from the dead, these shallow graves obviously. And I have heard about this from a bunch of different people, not necessarily just people that respond to books, but also like any sort of YouTube channel if they're talking about the books that they've been reading, or how to not be bored. I have heard of this before, and I know it's more in the horror novel genre. So I am not really used to horror novels. I don't really read them that often, but I thought it would be interesting to give it a try and see what I thought. And if you guys have any idea what type of horror books that would be good for me to start out with, I would love to hear them. My next book is The Diabolic by Simon and Schuster, and I think I'm pronouncing that right, I'm not quite sure. This book, now I got a very limited, really limited summary on the back of the novel. It was talking about if you weren't a normal person, you were diabolic. And I'm not really quite sure what that means yet. I haven't read it yet, and usually I go to the back of the book for any sort of information on what the book is about. But for this one, it was very short, and it was only a couple lines, and I'm not really sure what to expect, but I am very excited to read it, and I think it will be so cool. So I've actually already read both of these books, but I read this a while ago and I just finished this yesterday. So I thought I'd still put it in my TBR because I was hoping to do a review on them by the end of the month. So I thought that would be okay. And I can definitely go into full detail about both these books. These books have been amazing. It is the Six of Crows series by Leigh Bardugo. And I have definitely memorized that name. I loved him so much, and I actually read this more towards Halloween time, and I really liked it. And then I found out that they came out with the other one. It's called Crooked Kingdoms, and I was so excited, but for some reason I haven't read it until just now. I don't know why. I think it's because I had so many books on my plate and I was trying to decide what to read, and it felt like kind of weird to go from one book to the other. I wanted to kind of take a break and reimmerse myself in other genres, but I decided to go back and read this one, and I loved it so much. I totally forgot how much I loved all the characters, and I really enjoyed this. I read all 530 pages in 2 days, and I might have stayed up a little bit too late reading it. And this is one of those books where you have a hard time putting it down. It's like you get really worried for the characters and you have to keep reading, but you don't want to. And I was talking to my mom actually, and she was talking about how she doesn't really get like emotional for her characters. And I was asking her, like, how do you not get worried for your characters? Because when I was reading this, every chapter I'd be like, I have to put it down for a second because I couldn't keep reading. I was super nervous. And I don't know if that's a me thing or that's an everybody thing. I'm not quite sure. Everybody but her, some people, I don't know. But I thought that was kind of interesting that not everybody kind of felt that way. So I guess if you don't feel that way, then this book wouldn't have the same effect on you. But I thought it was crazy. And this follows the story that was from the first book, and I think I have mentioned that book on my channel, so I will kind of pick it up from where I left off. So after a tragedy with their deal came up, the main character Kaz had to go, and he had to find a way to save what he lost. And you would think that him saving it would be the whole book, but it's weird because this author does such a good job at cramming so much into a small book, into a small book. It's not gigantic. I mean, it's big, but it's not super big. She does such a good job at cramming everything in there, and she makes it so you're not thinking that everything's pinched together. Like, it feels like everything's very spaced apart, and when you look back, you feel like you've read it 1,000 pages ago, not 100. And I thought that was interesting. And you see, so you follow them trying to save what they lost, and then they're trying to save even more of what they lost. And you go through, and you're like always constantly worried. There are new players that always come into play, and I think that this book is full of so many surprises. And I definitely rate this as one of my favorite books I've ever read, and I really, really recommend it to anybody who likes kind of imaginary stuff. It's not like, I mean, the characters are magic, so it obviously would never happen in real life. Even if there was no magic, it wouldn't happen in real life, but it still seems very real to me. Like, it doesn't feel like a far-off land or anything. It feels very like I could relate, even though I obviously definitely could not relate to this situation. Okay, so my last book is crazy. This book is so cool, and I was not going to share it in this video, but I decided, because I don't really know that much about it, but I decided to because I thought it was just so cool, and I may be able to do a review on it someday. So this book is Replica by Oliver. That's his last name, or her last name. Let me check. Wow, it doesn't say. Okay, I'm sure I can find it later, but this book is so cool. So you see on this side it says Gemma. I'm going to assume that's how you pronounce it. I'm not quite sure. And then when you turn it over, it says Lyra. I think that's how you pronounce it too. I'm not quite sure. But you see, like, yeah. And it's so cool because, like, they are two different stories in one book. So as you can see, like, let's say you open it up this way. And you see that all of the words are like normal side up. And then, and then I can flip to the back end of the book. And I'm facing it the same way, and it's upside down. So then if I turn it around, that means that this part is the front, and it's Gemma's version. And then if I flip it over, oh my god, this is so cool. If I flip it over, it's Lyra's version. And you can kind of see where the text starts to be going upside down for right side up. So you can see how, like, here, I don't know if you can see it that well, but, like, you can see how the text changes rotations. And I thought that was so cool because, like, it's two different stories, and I don't know if they go together somehow or if they're the same story, but I was so confused when I first opened this because I'm like, how am I supposed to know which one's the front? Because, like, let's take this book for example. You know, you can tell that this is the front because the spine goes on the left side, but this isn't the front because it just, like, that part's upside down. But for this book, even though that part's right side up, when I do it this way, this part up here is, everything is just, it's all different, you know, like, everything was different, and I flipped to both sides, and I saw that, I was like, okay, this is the front, and then I flipped to the back to be sure, and I was like, wait, that's confusing. So I read the back of it, and as reading it, I realized that it is not what I thought it was. It is two different stories, and you can start with whichever one you like. I am probably going to look up which one they suggest I start with, but I thought this was really cool, and I'd mention it in my video. Thanks for watching my video, guys. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and I post videos every Friday. I am so sorry for my non-deadlininess, wait, that's not a word, for me being late on my post, and I'm hoping by next month I will have everything sorted out, and I am also very sorry for my room. It looks a mess, but also next week it'll look so much better. Bye, guys.